Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Squared Circle. I'm your guest, Mario Mancini. I'm a former WWE wrestler and co-instructor at Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling, along with Paul Roma, Big Steve Tracy, Paul Perez, and Sergeant Ralph Murray. Seated to the left of me is a man near and dear to my heart because he is a referee for Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling. Here, he is the professor, Bill Thompson. Seated to the extreme right of me is a man with a D in his name. He is dangerous. For a while, I've wondered the danger. I know the danger now because there's another D. When there's something needs to be done, this man, in particular for charity, gets it done. He is Dangerous Dan. Seated next to him, well, if you're looking for Hollywood, you don't have to go to California. He is right here. He is Hollywood Jay Williams. Gentlemen, what's happening?
Not much, Mario. That was awesome.
That's better than Jay has ever done.
Well,
I think so.
well, I'm still a little in a haze from getting my brains beat in Indiana, so I slipped a little on the professor here, but for the most part, happy to be here, guys. What's going on in the world of professional wrestling?
Well, you tell us. It's been a long time since you've been on the Squared Circle.
Well, it's been a few years.
It's been a few years.
It's been a few years. I'm really liking your home here.
Mm-hmm. New digs.
New digs, and it looks great. And I'm happy to say that that I live literally, and I looked at my clock in my car, 2 minutes from here. Literally, Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling is 2 minutes from here.
Right.
And my office is at another 30 seconds, 2.5 minutes from here. So this is a great location. I'm really happy for you guys with your new home. And I see the voice of Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling is behind the glass today.
Yep.
We can see him.
Yeah, RJ.
He's on the outside looking in.
RJ Tooth. RJ's getting really pumped up because Paradise Alley just cut a deal with Evolve Pro Wrestling to come to East Haven on October 15th. And the way it works is we have a pre-show of about 3 or 4 matches, and then we rip the canvas off and put the Evolve canvas on. But I'm pretty excited for RJ because the brass at Evolve they're going to sit next to him and see and listen to his gig to see how he is and everything. So I'm pretty excited, as I'm excited for everybody who's going to be in front of Evolve. You know.
So you got 3 or 4 matches coming up in October. Basically, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah. The way it's an iPay-per-view, Jay. So the way it works is Paradise Alley is going to be on the iPay-per-view, but we're not meshing together. What's happening is the owner of Evolve says, "Okay, we want to run a deal with you guys. We heard good things about you guys, and we want to run a deal with you, and we want your guys to showcase, but." The show's going to start at 6. The doors are going to open up at 5. So Paradise Alley goes on from like 6 to 6:45. And then the canvas gets changed. And then it's all Evolve from 7 on. With the exception of Richard Holiday, you know, he wormed his way into their show. You know, he was going to do it, you know.
Yes, to make it more marketable.
Oh, yeah. So he wormed his way onto the Evolve roster. But our guys are going to be, it's like a pre-show. It's like what Vince McMahon used to do back in the day. He called them dark matches. He put on a couple dark matches before he'd start a wrestling show. So, yeah.
I think they still do that once in a while.
I don't know. I haven't. The last time I was in that dressing room was April 26, 1992. That was the last time I was in that dressing room. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So that's how that's gonna work because I know Blitzkrieg and Chikara had something going on back in March, and Chikara ran during the day, and they shut the wedding facility down for a couple hours, and similar.
Yeah.
We'll just say that.
Yeah.
Not exactly the same thing, but
I remember it being very cold waiting outside.
oh yeah.
Yes, for that thing. We were freezing out there for a bit, so we don't have to worry about that here. So, and
No.
where is this going to be held?
At Joseph A. Malillo in East Haven, the PAPW's hub, if you will.
Yeah.
I've taken next week off. First time in 7 years. I took a week off from work. It's a staycation because I need to meet with Louis Payne, and I just want to cinch up, Evolve. Of course, November 4th. I'd like to come into Malillo for a show, and we're negotiating right now with X-Pac or a couple other names to bring into that show on November 4th. And basically I'm trying to book next year up until June, meaning I want to sit down with them and get those 2 dates, cemented, obviously, and which the 15th is. I just need to do the 4th, and then I'd like to do December and January and February, and then from March to June go back to the hockey rink.
Yep.
That's a good gig we have there, right,
Yeah.
Professor?
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the hockey rink.
So if I can get everything down until June, I'll be a happy guy. That'll take a lot of stress off. So, for now we have next week on the 19th we have open tryouts because Roma and I have gotten a lot of inboxes, and a lot of texts from people that want to work for Paradise Alley.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like anything else, you know what I mean? Say you own a restaurant and the chef says, gee, I'd like to be the chef of your restaurant. Mm-hmm. You're going to want him to cook for you and eat his food first before you feed it to your customers.
Right.
It's the same thing. I mean, open tryouts are the 19th for anybody who's inboxed us and texts us. Come on, we've told them to come on down on the 19th at 9 o'clock. There's open tryouts. We have to see you in the ring before we put you on the roster because God forbid, So it reminds me of when we ran Malillo for one of the first times. I brought in Atlas and Santana, and I put Atlas with a kid from the Bronx, and he said, "How long have you been working?" He said, "Oh, 3 years." Oh, Tito goes, "Oh, good. How many matches have you had a year in those?" He goes, "Oh, about 3." So he's had 9 matches. So Tito looked at him and said, "You're green."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, I'm not green. He goes, no, you're green. You know what I mean? So people could come in and say, oh, I've been in the business for 5 years. If you've had, 12 matches in that 5 years, it's a problem. So we need to see the people. The next day is Fan Appreciation Day. We're going to run about 5 matches out of the wrestling school. I'll be manning the grill and serving them hot dogs and hamburgers. So, that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be at 2 o'clock on the 20th because I need to get everybody home for SummerSlam, right? Hollywood, yeah. Nobody wants to miss SummerSlam, right?
The only thing that might make people miss SummerSlam is if you were doing cheesecakes.
Well,
and then people are like, you know what? The SummerSlam, but Mario's cheesecake.
Yeah, I mean,
things are like addictive.
I took a break for a little bit and I started up again, and something tells me I should have took a longer break, but. I'm up until 2:30 this morning making cheesecake. So, things are coming along. And then, of course, we have the North Haven Fair on the 7th and the 10th.
That's big.
Yeah, we got the North Haven Fair there. And then September 23rd is our WrestleMania, which is Dieselmania. And we've booked Booker T for that. He's not going to wrestle. He's just coming in for a couple hours for autographs. And our main there is Booker T, Diona Perazzo.
Heard of her.
Yeah, and AR Fox. So AR
Fox is awesome.
AR Fox is going to be wrestling Richard Holiday.
I'll tell you what, that's going to be a big test for Holiday because I've seen A.R. Fox through the years, but he's been doing did a lot of work with Lucha Underground out of California, which I'm a big fan of, and that'll be the most marketable match we could probably have. A.R. Fox and him, that's going to be pretty good. Talk louder.
Oh.
They want you to talk louder?
I think I should be talking louder. I've never been told to actually talk louder before.
Well, listen, listen. I definitely have never been told to talk louder ever. Yeah. So we first had Fox with Matthias, but Matthias is kind of iffy. He's got a knee injury. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty bad. So we don't know if he's going to be able to make it or not. So, Holiday's itching to take on,
That A.R. Fox Holiday match would be a huge match.
Yeah. Holiday.
True test for the most marketable man.
Yeah. Holiday,
right.
He was fun going down to Indiana with. He was quite interesting. You stop at every single Waffle House you see because there's no Waffle House out there.
Tell everybody how long it took you to get to that show.
It took 13 hours to get there with some stops, 13 and a half. It took longer to get home because we made more stops because, like I said to the guys, once I hit the hotel room Saturday morning, like at 11:30, I knew the worst part of that trip was over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, we hit the sack, got up like 3:45, took a shower, grabbed something small to eat, and we went to the shop. And after that, Brian Costello and all the crew, we met at TGI Fridays. We got back like at 1. We woke up like at 7. But that's the easiest part because you're getting home within, that 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. kind of gig.
Yeah.
But when we left, it was 10 o'clock. And, you got that REM sleep area from like 4 in the morning to and that's their first Waffle House was at 5 a.m.
We know because you were doing live Facebook all the way through. I felt like I was there with you.
Yeah, man. Their first Waffle House was at 5 a.m. and I was out. I broke the cardinal rule, and I was out cold. And they're like, "Come on, Mancini, we're at the Waffle House." I said, "Yeah, you guys go ahead and enjoy yourself." And I just stayed.
There's like Waffle Houses everywhere except Connecticut.
Oh
yeah.
Well, once you hit Pennsylvania, about 60 miles outside of Williamsport, there's a Waffle House. But the rule is you can't sleep on the road.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why can't you sleep on the road? Well, Google Adrian Adonis. Google Joey Morella, Gorilla Monsoon's kid, who was he was tremendous. He was a referee. And the list goes on of people that were passengers that fell asleep, and they were sleeping, and the driver fell asleep.
Yeah.
And they're dead. So the back in the 80s, and these guys just don't believe me. Back in the 80s, if you got caught sleeping in the car, you got the living daylights knocked out of you because you can't sleep. But that was relaxed on this trip.
Yeah.
Especially for me. So I can't judge or complain anybody because I knocked out cold. So
we got quite a few people in that van, though.
Well, I was hoping that it was a van, honestly, but
it wasn't a van.
It wasn't a van.
It was a car.
It wasn't a van, Hollywood. It was an Infiniti SUV that they thought was perfect for the trip, and I took the bullet for the first 6 hours, meaning I took the third row seat. Okay, the one where the back seats back up against your knees. And I thought I was going to be okay because it was a full third row. I go, it's a full third row. I'm going to put my feet up back there. But, I brought a gym bag with 3 days worth of clothes in my wrestling gear in a gym bag. Other gentlemen brought stuff that looked like they were leaving for a week. So that other side of that bench seat had to go down
Yeah.
to make room for the luggage. So now I was stuck with this, 270 pounds back there like this for 6 hours. We got out and I said, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, I pulled the veteran thing.
Yeah.
And I said I'm not, you know, Matthias is a tremendous talent. He's a great wrestler. He's kind of on the small side.
He's small. Yeah.
Yeah. So he went back there.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was a good trip. We had a lot of laughs, and
I heard Mateus does a really good impression of somebody.
well, it's like a tradition, you know. It's like, and he does it in the wrestling school too. He'll do the Iron Sheik, and
It's spot on.
it is spot on. And unfortunately, it is on Facebook, and unfortunately, we cannot play it on the air because of the language.
You're saying it's a little colorful?
Yeah, it's a little colorful, but he does a great impression of the Sheik. One day, I would like to book the Sheik, even though I think by now he's in a wheelchair. I'd like to book the Sheik, and Matthias doesn't believe it, but I know it's true because I know the Sheik. Mm-hmm. If he did that in front of the Sheik, the Sheik would laugh until he cried.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People think that, you know, the Sheik would get mad and try to hit him with one of his.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, he wouldn't though.
Yeah.
He the only one that wouldn't like that bit, obviously, is Brian Blair. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of he wouldn't like that at all.
Oh, boy.
So, we got a phone call.
No phone calls.
No phone calls here.
It's a personal call during the show.
That's it.
Put him on the air.
Yeah. We haven't worked out the phone part
Yeah.
yet, so
The
eventually.
phone's gonna be this for right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's no problem with that. That's a good deal right there. Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, we're gonna
Why
get
not?
some. Maybe we'll get. Have Mateus call in one day, but not use the colorful language.
Well, yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if it would be. Well,
It might not be as funny though.
It'll be funny if he does the Sheik when he goes, "Use a punk," you know. Brian Brad, use a punk. You know what I mean? So
I've heard those. If you turn around, and you don't look at him, you're going, "Is that really him?"
yeah.
He's like a little bit of he's a legend anyway. But when we're talking about him in the school, he's definitely a legend. There.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of hard. You know, it's like I'd like to book the Sheik, you know, to come to a show. I like to book Brett, you know, Booker T's coming. All these guys don't work, but I still would like to book them. But you know, sometimes it gets frowned on because the fans want to see relevant people work in the ring.
Yeah.
So it's a hard call, but
Yeah, it's the thing that I find very interesting is that you look at back to like the 80s and the folks that have basically retired at this point, and it's like still making that connection. I think the interesting piece is that for the fans' perspective, yeah, they want to see more of the relevant stuff, but I say like as a true hardcore fan, you understand that where that person fits in the history of how people are doing what they do now.
and you need a hardcore fan for that. I
Yeah.
mean, as time goes on, it's getting sadder and sadder because I was talking to a fan in Indiana about Dino Bravo,
Yeah.
and they went,
That's going back.
"Who?" I go,
Dino Bravo.
"Dino Bravo? Never heard of him."
Yeah.
So it's starting to.
They don't know their history.
Yeah, I mean, I was the same way. I mean, the first time Strongbow ever yelled at me,
Chief J. Strongbow?
yeah, he used an example of Buddy Rogers. He goes, "Do you know who Buddy Rogers is?" I go, "Yeah, I know who Buddy Rogers is." He goes, "You know who he is?" I go, "Chief, Bruno beat him under a minute in 1963 for the heavyweight title. I know who Buddy Rogers is."
Yeah.
But, you know, when he starts throwing out, jumping Eddie this or flying Rick that, I'm like, I have no idea who. Well, he worked back in 1959. Well, I didn't. and we're in that. We're in there right now because if you think of it, that was '84, and he's talking about 30 years ago, and now we're in 2017, and I'm referring back to 30 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And people, a lot of people argue right down to Ricky Steamboat. They're like, who?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's sad.
Oh yeah,
That's-
I'm
Ricky
like,
Steamboat?
you know, they know the Valentines, the Bret Harts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even Roma's partner, he was tag team partners with Hercules Hernandez. They were Power and Glory.
Yep.
Hercules Hernandez. I go, yeah. But you're right. It's got to be a hardcore fan, and the icons still, you know, catch an eyebrow. The Bret Harts, the Harley Race, the Ric Flairs,
Yep.
of course the Hogan. You know, everybody's still familiar with those guys. You know what I mean? It's just those mid card guys that, you know, and you know, forget me. I mean, the hardest of the hardcore. You know, will remember me. But you know, and it's funny. Rome and I go through the same thing. Of like, somebody will be talking to somebody about us, and they'll go Mario and say, "Oh, I remember him." And like Paul Roman, be like, "What?" And then it'll be like Paul. "Oh yeah, he was. I remember Paul Roman." And then it'll go Mario Mancini, and then I can't picture him. You know what I mean? So, you know, owning a wrestling company and booking these shows, it's not easy. And you know, I'm a guy of truth, and I like that. And you know, that old adage is if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember your lies. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? Gold Rush, you know, was about 91 people.
Yep.
You know,
That was with the Meriden?
Middletown.
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 No, Middletown was about 120 people.
Yeah.
Gold Rush was at the hockey rink. That was about 91 people.
Okay, yeah. You're
Right.
right. Yeah.
And me and Roma and Perez and Ralph Big Steve we looked at each other and said, you know what, PAPW has a contingent, and that's 100 people. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. I mean, imagine you can draw 100 people.
Yeah.
That's nothing to sneeze at.
No, not at all.
But we needed to reorganize and bring in names to bring in the other 200 people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're trying to
So that's where this alliance with Evolve came in.
Well, actually,
And what is Evolve anyway?
Evolve, you know, they got a hold of Roma, and Roma handed them over to me, and I cut a deal with them. They're out of Jersey.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they're out of Jersey, and they do pay-per-views all over the country. I mean, one of the brass I was talking to last night, they had a show in Maryland, and he shot me a picture of it. I mean, the house was unbelievable. And it looks like they have really good talent. You have to forgive me, I can't remember all the names.
I think Matt Riddle is one of them.
The big black guy, what's his name?
Lee?
Yeah,
Keith Lee? Yeah.
Keith Lee. I want to book Keith Lee for one of our shows.
Keith Lee is he is a big man.
Yeah, I want to book him. I'd like to see him wrestle Big Jim Anderson.
That would be brutal.
Yeah.
That would be brutal.
Yeah, so I want to book him in the future. So who knows? Maybe we can have him for November 4th at Malolo. You never know.
Yeah. I don't think I don't think the average fan really understands the nuances of what you have to do to get people to these shows and all the stuff that you have. It's almost, just from the perspective I have now, the match is almost the easiest part.
Oh yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. I mean, and then you know, you're doing the sign of the cross, hoping and praying that, you know, you're going to be able to cover.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have the money up front. If your payroll is $1,200, you got to have that in the bank in case you tank at the box office. So, you know, it's not an easy business. I mean, organizations go to business all the time.
Yeah. You got to say the novena.
Yeah. Oh. You certainly do. You certainly do.
That's what I say when I get in the ring. I'm like, I do the novena.
I know.
Make sure
Listen,
I get out of there.
You do a good job. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
It's like, my match in Indiana. This kid was 6'4", 400 pounds, and I said, "How old are you?" And he said, 29 years old. And I said, "How often do you work prior to your broken femur?" He said, "About 5-6 times a month." I said, "Look, I'm 51. I don't need to beat you." Of course, Brian Costello is a dear friend of mine, so he called it, and I get that. But I said, "I don't need to beat you, and we're gonna do a glorified King Kong Bundy match. That's what we're gonna do.
Good.
A glorified King Kong Bundy match." The only thing is, I was feeding him, and he just wasn't catching the feed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So he needs a little more seasoning. But good kid, good worker. As I was getting up, if I'm getting up and I'm facing the corner,
Yeah.
you put my head to the turnbuckle.
Yeah.
If I'm on all fours, and my left hand is here, and my right is all the way here, and I'm on all fours, I'm telling you to kick me in the rib cage.
Yeah.
So he's giving me forearms, and he leans down. I go, kick me. So, but other than that, he was pretty good. And at the end of the match was a horrible small package on my part. I couldn't wrap somebody that big, and I told the ref to count fast. But keep in mind here, Professor, as he counted fast, I looked at my opponent and I said, "Get in the ref's face. Do not put your hands on the referee. Do not put your hands on the referee. Take your frustration out on me."
Mm-hmm.
So he took that chain and hit me in the head with it, and then tossed me out of the ring.
Yeah.
I almost said something else that is the common term in the dressing room. It almost came out. He tossed me out of the ring. And, I laid there dead. Even though I got the 3 count, I laid there dead while he had his arms up and he walked out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I kind of staggered back, the old guy, that got lucky,
Yeah.
So, the refereeing is I reffed a couple times in the WWF. I didn't like it, but Strongbow was the agent on both occasions, and he had the shirt in his bag, and I begged him. I'm like, "Come on, Chief, I don't want to ref. You're reffing. I don't want to." And he had the hood.
Yeah.
He goes, "Here, put this mask on, go out and work. Then come back in, take the mask off, put the ref on, and your shirt on, go out and ref."
God.
So,
How's the professor doing on that?
Oh, he is excellent. I mean, he is. When you watch wrestling and you watch referees, you know what I mean? And I watch Bill, he is like the quintessential referee, you know what I mean? Perfect size, guy's in shape. He's got that do going. You can tell he's a sense of authority in there. He's an authoritative figure in that ring.
God,
I mean, it's a perfect fit. Listen, back in the 80s, I wish you could see it. It was hilarious. He wanted to do it. Nobody was going to say no to him. There was a guy, his name was Kevin Conley. He was a state police officer. He had biceps like bowling balls. I mean, they were huge. And he wanted to be a referee, So he went to the WWF to try to be a referee, and they said, "You look a lot better than some of the boys.
Yeah.
You can't be a referee." You know what I mean? It's like some referees are 6'5". That's a hard gig. I mean, you have just like a wrestler, you have to look the part to be a referee, and you can't be bigger than the boys. You know what I mean?
Don't have to worry about that.
Oh
with me.
yeah.
In your case,
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
So you got it going on. You listen. You're gonna go far, and you're gonna do well. Don't think you're out of loop on the Evolve show.
No.
Don't think you're out of loop. Everybody's exposed to that Evolve show.
Then you can probably outrun most of the boys. So,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, one of the best stories is at the school we're training and I'm doing some matches. I think I was in there for about 35 minutes, and I come out and I sit down, and Mario comes over. He goes, "How you doing?" I said, "Good."
Good, yeah, good. He goes, you go right there? I said, yeah. He goes, you look good. I said, thank you. He goes, work on a couple of things. I said, good. He goes, I just want to say, he goes, 35, 40 minutes in the ring, and there's not a hair out of place on your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, that's why. I says, I'm the Pat Riley of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's it.
Pat Riley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We have a brief clip I want to get to, and then we'll come back, and maybe we'll get to the other one, or maybe we won't. But I want to show this. This is Mario Mancini here at Ring of Dreams.
You want to give the backstory to this, Jay?
I'll let you do that.
I think this was us, Mario and the school and everybody involved, kind of righting a wrong from a previous show that someone was not, just had an issue with getting money to this specific charity, but I'm going to let everybody listen.
That was committed here on April 22nd. And I want to thank you, the ASRC thank you, the Paradise Valley Professional Wrestling thank you from the bottom of my heart. Truly, give yourself a hand, please. Now, I appreciate everybody attending. There are 5 very special sponsors that were kind enough to donate to make this day a tremendous success. They are Bay Down Creation Bail Bond, the Rib House, Ford's Premium, BFG Electric, and SCS Security Systems. Each donated $1,000. Unbelievable generosity. There was also a donation made by Mr. Plumbing and Heating that we appreciate. We had a successful raffle, and you good people came here today and along with the sponsors. It's my pleasure to right the wrong for $7,850 to the ASRC. Sitting here on the 22nd is Crystal here. So it's my honor to present you with that check on behalf of New Fans and Paradise Valley Professional Wrestling.
Tremendous thing that was done. I think the one question that probably many people have in regards to this is, when you go to the bank, how do you cash that check?
Quite fit through the ATM.
Yeah, how do you get that through
Right.
the ATM? Mario's like, I'm going to smack
I
him.
can see you're just sitting.
I
Yeah.
tell you, that was a good moment. We're gonna dedicate every April to the ASRC. Obviously, April is Autism Awareness
Yeah.
Month, so we're gonna do that every April for them, as we do Dieselmania every September. And I got to check with Lenore on her fundraising, and I think February is Mission 22 month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I think it's amazing that, that what charities we get involved with.
it started with Dieselmania, and we were running straight shows. It was just a business, and then after we ran Dieselmania, other charities started getting a hold of us. So, every show we do, we did it for the East Haven in Brantford,
Yep.
East Haven Brantford animal shelters. Dan and I have to get together in secret and do it for this organization, whether they want it or not. We decided we're going to do it whether they want it or not and just give them the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're gonna be like, hey.
Yeah, so I want to pick a month for that. I won't mention who it is because I don't want them to scream at Dan or myself.
Oh,
but we're gonna
God,
do
that's
it.
pretty funny.
Listen, we're gonna do it. Listen, we had a 3-way inbox, and the person just didn't get it. They didn't understand. They just didn't get it. You know what I mean? So, Dan and I said, screw it, we're gonna do it anyway. So we just got to pick a month.
Yeah.
Where that particular show I want to do because it'd be very unique because at the same time we can raise money, we can have boxes there as well.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Big,
Huge boxes.
Right. So that's twofold right there.
Yeah.
So that would be, I think that would be a pretty exciting show.
Yeah, it's amazing the connection between the school and the community,
Right.
and I think that's a very powerful piece.
Well, it is. Listen, that is the reason why, I'm here. I mean, I might have said it in jest at the beginning of the show, but it's a very serious thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here at ETV, with the squared circle, it's very serious for me because it is true. I mean, it took me 2 minutes to get here. My wrestling school's in East Haven. Our wrestling shows are in East Haven.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All relative.
But you know
it.
what? In the East Haven residents, and I know for a fact, they watch this channel more probably than any other town because everybody loves the politics of East Haven. They am I wrong? They just do.
Oh, and indeed they do. It's a blood sport.
Yeah, right. I've been there getting a waiver for East Haven High School, Dan. I'm there getting a waiver for East Haven High School at these meetings. And he knows what meetings we'll talk about. And I'm sitting there going, somebody's going to hit someone. I'm like,
There's more politics here than there is in D.C.
Oh my God! I'm like, they're getting hot in there. The budget and this and the
You got to book a match for those people.
Oh, the superintendent and this, or they're gonna cut the athletic director, and the 100 people showed up for the athletic director, and it was nuts. And I'm sitting there going, after everybody's yelling at everybody, sit down and all this stuff, I'm gonna go up to the podium and go, hey, I'm looking for a waiver. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Big Steve looks at me. I made eye contact with him. He did one of these. He goes, I got the hell out of there.
Yeah,
I said, I'll come to the next one. I'm getting out of there, man. It was ugly in there. So, listen, the people of this town care so much. And, I came here 17 months ago from North Guilford.
Yep.
I'll never leave. I love East Haven.
Yeah.
I really do. The people, and I just love the community. I love where I live. Where I live, my 11-year-old could walk the street at 1 o'clock in the morning and nothing will happen to him. And not only that, the beach that I'm on, for God's sake, the private fireworks was better than the town display.
Yeah.
The fireworks these people had they were insane.
It usually is.
Yeah, they were. So the people of East Haven have a lot of heart. They have a lot of spirit, and it's very important to me. As I live within 2 minutes of this studio, and like I said, my wrestling school is another 30 seconds away. So, the East Haven community is important, and this show is important. You know what I mean? In East Haven, it's paramount, actually. Just like any other show on ETV, you know what I mean? This one's just as important. So, it was really important for me to get here.
Yeah, I love the studio. I love Channel 8, but I love the studio.
Oh yeah, you got a big kick
boy.
going to Channel 8, huh?
Yeah, I had to bring that one up.
Jay
Luke.
was standing with me in the back of the parking lot, right, the hockey rink.
Yeah.
The Channel 8 was out there interviewing me and
And,
everything.
and Renee Schmiel, they got there late.
Yeah, so he's like, you got any footage? And I'm like, Jay, you got any footage? Yeah. He goes, I'm going to Channel 8 right now. I'm going there right now. You know, he's all tanked up, you know.
Oh, Lord.
You know.
I marked out.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you do if you're interested in something like this. I mean, when there's a person that wants to be a wrestler, the first time they ever get up close to a wrestling ring and they feel it, they have that same feeling.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, you know, with the exception of the Evolve show, obviously, you know, I'm not like other promotions, you know, whether it be actual hard cams or cell phones, or I go, come on in.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand other wrestling promoters that go, there's no filming on my show. Well, you know, if 10 people film your show, they put it on their website, they get it out there, they put it on YouTube, they put it everywhere. Instagram,
They can see
put
you.
You can see my company.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, I get it. I get it.
Because I think maybe the mentality is that you won't go there.
Well, no, this one
You'll sit there
particular
and watch it on YouTube.
this one particular promoter.
Uh-oh.
This one particular promoter,
Oh boy.
you know, his philosophy is, you can't keep up my shows because I gotta sell my DVDs.
Now is that how he sounds?
I gotta sell DVDs.
That's another argument, yeah.
I gotta sell my DVDs. To my understanding, since you know, 1999, he might have sold 4 of these things.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know what I mean. So it's like, you know. Forget the DVDs. I mean, I think Vince, other than Netflix or on demand, I mean, I think he might have a problem after every WrestleMania. I don't even know how many DVDs he pushes, because once you see it,
Yeah.
you know, do you want it? Most people.
And now it's on the network, too.
Yeah, and most people, if you see it live, and then you come to the next show and you go, oh, gee, there's a DVD of the last show for $5. You know, unless something really weird,
Yeah.
I mean, like really weird happened at that last show, you're like, I was there.
Or
Why am I going to buy the DVD?
extraordinary,
Yeah.
And you know, guys, you know how this independent circuit works. Blitzkrieg has their own people. PAPW has their own people. You know what I mean? You know, PvP has their own people. They're there every show. They're not going to buy the DVD. They saw it.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Come on into Paradise Alley, with the exception of Evolve. Because, you know, the minute somebody from Evolve sees a cell phone go up or a camera go on, I'm sure they're going to flip out.
Yeah.
Because they're live on iPay-per-view.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So, even one of the brass, he sent me a picture of Maryland last night. He didn't send me a video. You know what I mean? But what was really cool is I sent them a video of Malillo because they wanted to see the venue. And at that particular point, like 2-3 weeks ago, they just did that glaze over the gym floor.
Oh, nice.
Where it looks like you could put on a pair of skates. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I sent, and they went, wow, that's perfect. They were really excited about it. So they're really excited to work with us, and we can't wait. Roma has some things under his sleeve, other big companies out there, equal with Evolve, that contacted him for talent. And until it's cemented, you know, I'll wait for him, but I'll give you a little hint. The company's out of California, and they're looking for, he called and said, hey, we're interested in some of your guys. So
That's big.
Yeah.
I think I know who you're
Oh,
talking
yeah. So you know, and I'm going to give credit where credit's due. It's incredible. Roma is, despite what some people will think about him, because they don't know him.
Yeah.
But he's incredible because, listen, there's no way on God's green earth that Mario Mancini can pick up the phone and call Booker T, and Booker T will say, "Yeah, Mario, I'll come in for half of what I usually get, and you can keep everything I sign." I'm not doing that. Booker T is going to get his normal fee, which is $5,000, and he keeps everything he takes in. But it's Roma that has that relationship. It's you mentioned, you know, like a genuflect. It's Roma who guys like Robbie E and guys like that, when Roma gets on the phone with them, they're like, "Yes, sir." You know what I mean? It's all Roma. And, you know, I can call Tito Santana Tony. I could call Bundy for a personal appearance, DiBiase.
Yep.
I got it like that with those guys. But Roma has it with those WCW guys. I don't. Even when the former WWE guys call him from early millennium, you know, 90s, they're like genuflected to the guy. So it's like, you know, he is the face of Paradise Alley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He really gets a lot of respect out there, and he should. I mean, he was right there with me. Plus, you know, it's a lot of juice. It's a lot of gas. You know, Mario, how many WrestleManias have you been in? None. Not one. Any pay-per-view events at all? None. Zero. Roma, how many WrestleManias have you been in? 3. You know what I mean? So, who do you know personally that have been in 3 WrestleManias?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like, have you ever played in the World Series? You know what I mean? So, you know, he's got a lot of juice, and you know, not a lot of people are a big fan. I've happened to know him for 32 years. And listen, it took a long time to understand how he ticks. Even when he loses his temper, I say to myself, I know what he's saying. You know what I mean? So, but by the way it comes out, it's like, you know, it might come out as, you know, your mother's this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it doesn't mean that. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
That's not what he's trying to say. You know? So,
We have any time to show this last clip, or
10 minutes.
we got 10 minutes? We got 10 minutes.
How long is the clip?
It's around there.
Do whatever you want to do. You could save it, or you could.
Gotta risk it. And then we'll close.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Go off the
we can
rail.
cut it off a minute early if we have to.
There we go.
We can talk over this still.
Now, who is this gentleman in the ring? I've never heard of this Holiday guy.
This is some schmuck who thinks he was the best thing out of New York.
Oh, I don't
but-
think you should use the word schmuck.
Well, when Holiday can measure up to these guns,
He is marketable beyond your means there, Mr. I have a plum-looking t-shirt shirt on there. This is the Mr. Richard Holiday.
This is the current title holder for PAPW.
You know, Holiday is such a class. He's almost a throwback. He's such a vintage kind of pro wrestler. And I won't give it away because I don't need him getting hot at me, but I'll use this. When you're in the dressing room, you were talking to Roddy Piper. You say, "Hey, Pipe, what's going on?" He goes, "What? How are you doing?" "Good, Roddy." I said, "How was the ride here?" "Oh, it was all right." Like you gotta, you had to lean down to hear what the guy was saying.
Yep.
The minute that red light would go on,
Yep.
mayhem.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And without giving the Holidays personality, like, it just cracks me up.
And this is 5-star JC is taking on here. This is from Ring of Dreams.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Now, I'm going to throw in my own little plug here because we're talking about the wrestlers, but the ref in there is Miguel,
Yeah.
and him and I have been training together since we got into the school. So I just give Miguel a shout out. He's taller than me anyway.
Yeah,
so.
Miguel I wanted Miguel to be a wrestler, but obviously he's got back issues. But he got burned pretty good too from that first autism show.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
he did.
He got burned good. It's a shame.
This is-
yeah.
Oh.
I heard the stories there.
Yeah. It's
Like
a
a lot of people got burned up.
Yeah. Well, today's the 12th, right?
Yes, it is.
He's got court in 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
This airs on
Now, is that
the 15th.
that's Eric Essex there, who makes a few appearances in this area?
Well, I have to tell you, believe it or not, he's going to be there for the Evolve show.
That's a shame.
Well, I have to tell you, I really have to tell you, like I said, I have to give props who I give props to.
Yeah.
He is the genesis of starting this Evolve deal.
Oh, really?
Eric Essex is the one that linked it together. Yeah, he is.
Well, I know he does. He works with ACW in Florida. So he is a manager of, I guess you would say, the Rat Pack, and he's got quite a few members when he comes up to this area. Oh, nice knee.
Yeah, we had Mr. Essex on the Squared Circle back in the roll.
We did.
Back at the NHTV days.
Now, when you say holiday's a throwback, what do you kind of expand on that? What do you
Well,
mean?
without giving too much away, it's like
Nice elbow, by the way.
the polar opposite of his persona in the ring.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, I bust on Richard Holiday, but he's, as the fans can see from watching this clip, he's very thoroughly trained, as most of the talent is, who goes down and trains at your school, Mario.
Yeah, I appreciate that. He you know what? Well, I'll let some private stuff out here. So
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
yeah, I mean, over a year ago, Holiday lived his gimmick in and out of the ring. That became a problem. But since then, he's become a consummate professional. I've been obviously in the WWF. There's no difference between how he conducts himself in and out of the ring than we did back in the 80s, which I'm very proud of. I mean, he is a serious professional. As he said to me the other day, he said, "Mario, listen to me. I live this. I breathe it. I sleep it. I eat it. This is what I want to do with my life.
Right.
You know, this is what I want to do for a living. You know, ultimately he wants to get to the WWE, and I think he's got a shot because if you look at him, he's got the height.
Yep.
He's got the weight. He has the build. I mean, he looks like a wrestler. You know
Right.
what I mean? He looks like a wrestler. So I think, and he's very young, and I think he's got a really good shot. If he can get a break with Evolve, and Evolve's the key for Holiday, because as we all know, Evolve has a direct link to the WWE and NXT.
Right.
The owner of Evolve gets together with Triple H all the time about
The owner of
talent.
Evolve used to work for Ring of Honor. Am I right or wrong?
I think so.
Right.
So Holiday. I have a lot of hopes for Holiday. You know what I mean? And let me tell you something. It was brutal. Not if it was 1988, and I must have said that 101 times that night, but it was brutal working with this kid at 49 years old. I mean, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. He had me in a chin lock going, "Whenever you want to get up, Mario, I'm right here. Take your time." You know what I mean? So I'm like, USOB, if this was 1988, man, if I was 22 years old, but I wasn't. So, I'm there, looking for oxygen. He's like, "Whenever you're ready, come on up." It's like, damn. So,
Yeah, I think that's one thing you brought out is consummate professional.
well, he is unbelievable. He really is. Holiday is our top guy. He's an amazing talent, and he's one of those guys that you know, it's just everything to him, as it was for all of us when we were that age. And it, you know, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I'm not trying to insult anybody, but there are guys in wrestling in the independent circuit. They know their place. They got their, you know, it's kind of like the movie The Wrestler. They got their 9 to 5.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
on the weekends, they put the trunks and boots on. And there's nothing wrong with that. But then you have guys like Holiday that, you know, he lives and breathes this thing, and he wants to do it for a living. And the thing that's getting harder and harder for us is getting, you know, the opponents he deserves to work with.
Yeah.
That's why I brought in Bobby Ocean. That, you know, that's why.
Tremendous match, by the way.
Yeah, that's why I brought in Bobby Ocean. That's why I want him to work with AR Fox, because he looks for me for a lot of advice. And one day, about 6 months ago, he came up to me in a wrestling school and he says, "Am I getting better?" And I said, "No, you're not getting better. You're where you're at." He goes, "Well, what do you mean I'm not getting better?" I said, "The only way you're going to get better is to work with people better than you."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like when my eyes opened when I was a kid, and I worked with Bret Hart for the first time. I came back to the dressing room and looked at Strongbow and said, "I don't know how to wrestle."
Yeah.
And he said, "What?" I said, "I don't know how to work. I have no idea what I'm doing." He just made me look like a fool, you know. And then you got to try to reach that level, which
Yeah.
is impossible. So,
Well, I think that's you, and I'll just speak from the student's perspective of being at the school. It's like you're always trying to up your game, you know?
the thing with everybody at the school is running the drills, keeping your wind, keeping sharp, practicing your skills. But to get better at professional wrestling is repetition
Yep.
and working with people that are better than you are.
I think the willingness of everybody there to work with, just if you're a ring announcer, to a student, to someone who's been there for 5 or 6 years, who's been doing this for 8 to 10 years, everybody kind of as a family and looks at, hey, you're going to make me look better, I'm going to make you look better,
Yeah.
and it's really a team effort,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's, looks like Holiday again pulls one out here.
Pulling one over on 5-star G's.
It was a good match.
Now, quickly, if we can, Mario, can you tell us again about the 19th?
Yes. The 19th is open tryouts. Starts at 9 a.m. at Paradise Alley in East Haven, 662 Co Avenue, Unit 2. And all are welcome to come. I know there's a local organization that is closing on September 30th.
Right, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, you know what I mean? That's
we saw this one coming, unfortunately.
you
Sad.
know, people got in touch with me and they're like, "Ah, you must be happy." I go, "Actually, I think it's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad. I'm not happy. It's sad." You know?
I'm gonna miss them, and we need to get our belt back somehow.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's never
Yeah.
when something falls up, you know, something goes by the way of the dinosaur. It's never you know, something that anybody likes to see if you are truly a fan or a professional in this
Yeah, you
business.
don't like anybody getting hurt, you know, and they weren't hurting anybody. They were just running shows out of their dojo, you know. It's not like they were on the road or anything.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, they were just trying to survive, and that just it just didn't happen. But that's another thing about these tryouts. On the 19th, if you know, they're welcome to come down, you know, and listen, we have Jared McCready, which I'm so glad I got in touch with him to work a couple shows, because now he's a big part of Paradise Alley, and you know, we're going to see a lot of him. He's got a lot to offer, you know, so I'm happy with that. And you know, obviously an open tryout, the door's open to anybody who wants to come down, you know.
Absolutely.
How are we doing on time there, Jeff?
We're probably under a minute, so before we go, just some reminders. Tonight we'll be up in Southwick, Massachusetts for PvP at the Cove.
And of course, we're taking the executive limo up, and you're eating caviar again.
Of course, as usual. Next week, in addition to the tryouts for PAPW, PvP will also be at maximum capacity again in Chicopee. A week after that, we got the second anniversary for Blitzkrieg, Time Bomb, featuring Marty Jannetty, Al Snow, Mia Yim, Massage Envy, Maxwell Jacob Feinstein, Bob Orton, Hardcore Holly. That's going to be a big card.
Don't forget the Sunday, the 20th of August,
Of course.
PAPW Fan Appreciation.
Fan Appreciation Day.
I guess
on
we're
the 20th.
I guess we're done.
We are done. Mario, thank you.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure, guys. My pleasure.
See you next week.